I think it is hilarious how you go from the hero to a GOAT in less than a year and a half. And if you don't know who I'm talking about CJ Stroud. CJ had a terrible postseason. I mean, he was awful against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was even worse against the New England Patriots. And yeah, he hasn't been offered a contract yet. Is he the franchise guy for the Houston Texans going forward? We're going to talk about it. So, this is Dee with Dee Knows. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me. We're doing this a little radio style right now. I know you guys haven't seen my beautiful face on the camera. Joking. Haven't seen my face in a while. It's because we're doing a renovation to the studio. All new things are coming. We have a lot coming. I cannot wait to show you guys what we're doing, what you guys can be a part of. So you know what to do. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Share it with a friend. If you're a football fan, this is where it's at. We don't talk all that other stuff. This is pure diehard football. If you don't know the game, between me and this community, we gonna help you learn football. But we have a good time over here. We hang out over here. So, I've been doing a lot of the narrative-based videos. Go check those videos out. I did one on Cam Ward and the Titans and why I feel like they're going to take that next step in this 2026 season. Go check that video out. That is a good video. Really good video. But right now, what I'm doing, like I said, back into the radio-style videos. Want to kind of shoot off the hip, give you my raw feelings on things, and we go ahead and jump into this. So, CJ talked to the media for the first time this offseason. He's been quiet this year. Now, if you remember last year, coming off that rookie year, he was hanging with Micah Parsons, and he was doing all the podcasts and stuff, and he was all over the world. And I mean, you could turn your TV on or your phone on and you didn't see CJ Stroud somewhere. So he was everywhere. I think he did, I don't know if he did it. I know Micah Parsons did it where he was wrestling, a sumo wrestler. I think CJ was there. But this year he's been quiet and, I understand why. So he kind of told the media what was going on. So when he met with Houston's media for the first time this offseason, basically, he kind of said he went into the bunker. He didn't perform well last season. And hey, first thing to being a great person or, finding a way to being a leader is being able to be observant of self. And that's what he's doing. He said, that he pretty much not failed the team, but he wasn't who he needed to be in order for them to take that next step. And when you see that Texas defense, and that defense is ferocious. That defense reminds me of the 2008 Steelers defense with those boys over there, James Harrison, and I think was Woodley on that team, and you had Troy Polamalu and all those guys from that front end on that defensive line to them edges, to that secondary. They play hard and fast, and they hit you, and they did not care. This is that Texans defense. And if they can get CJ Stroud to be the franchise guy that he can be, that I believe he could be. I was high on CJ Stroud coming out of Ohio State because I thought CJ Stroud was in a situation at Ohio State with Ryan Day where that offense didn't fit him. CJ is more of a prototypical drop back quarterback. He's not a guy that's going to run not too often. He's not fleet of foot. He's a good enough athlete to get out of trouble, get out of the pocket. But he's not a fleet of foot type of guy. So that system that they was running at Ohio State, that RPO type of offense, I never thought fit him. And he was like a square going into a round hole, and he did the best he could in that offense. and he still has success there. A lot of people at that time were saying, hey, even though he's looked at as like the number one, number two pick, they didn't think he was all that great. They saw little traits, but they didn't feel like he was all that great. And that first year he came in, he was blowing people away. Second year they brought in Bobby Slowick, and it just didn't work out for whatever reasons it didn't. And this past year, he just wasn't himself. He wasn't good. The tape is out on him. You have to start making those type of adjustments. Bad offensive line. Nico Collins was in and out of the lineup. Tank Dell had the devastating knee injury, and hopefully he can get back to who he is, because he's a dynamo when he's on the field. And, it was just a lot of things that worked against the Texans last year, believe it or not. And CJ just didn't play well. I think he was preoccupied with kind of being in the spotlight, and I think it kind of hindered his game a little bit. So, he just didn't have his best year. And then you had Davis Mills come in for about 5 or 6 games, and I think through that stretch of games, he actually was the one that kind of put them back into the playoff contention through that season. I think they went on a hot streak, and CJ came back, and he kind of took over and just steadied the ship and played decent enough where that defense was so good that, they were able to make that run and get into that playoff run, especially with the Colts kind of falling apart after Daniel Jones got hurt too. So it was just a weird season for the Texans last year. It was definitely a weird season for CJ Stroud. And, one of the things that I wanted to bring up in this video is it's just like, how fast do the NFL turn on quarterbacks? And I bring this up because this guy can't miss, right? First year he comes out, everybody's saying, oh man, he's playing like a 4-year vet already. You might as well just go ahead and pay him now if you could. He's in a situation where he looks like he's a 28-year-old vet. He's seen the game before. It's just unbelievable, right? And now everybody's question is he a franchise guy? And, even the Texans are like, hey, we want to kind of see a little bit more from you, right? So, the situation is what it is. And CJ came out and basically said, hey, he feels like, the contract should already be on the table. He feels like he's done his work. Now, where I'm going to push back on CJ is you are only as good as yesterday, right? And you were not good last year. That's just what it was. You were not good last year. The Texans honestly made the playoffs because of Davis Mills. Davis Mills and that defense took him on a run. Davis Mills did enough. He didn't make mistakes. He did enough to make that offense run. And that defense is just out of control. And, you came back in and you were in a situation where all you had to do was steady the ship. But when you want to be that guy and you want to be paid that $300 million a year, you want that $60 million a year, you have to be a game changer. And do I believe CJ Stroud has that talent to be that game changer? Absolutely. I do. But believing it and it being consistent is two totally different things. And this is what I was telling a couple of my peers out here, football fans too, that now that the quarterback salary has went up so high, I mean, Dak Prescott is at $60 million a year. I think Matthew Stafford just got his rates adjusted, and he's up there as like one of the highest paid quarterbacks. And he's worth the money. Dak Prescott, he hasn't got over the hump, but offensively, for the most part, he does his job. So $60 million is what he's getting. Now you have to look at the cases of someone like a Tua Tagovailoa, where he got $53 million and he's not even in Miami no more. So now you have a quarterback that that the organization had to swallow that guaranteed money on in Miami, and he's not even there anymore. They have to start over. That means they have to gut the roster. They have to do other things. That becomes a full-on reset because your quarterback now is taking up almost 30% of the cap. So when you take a swing on these quarterbacks now, you better know that he's your guy. Because if you miss, it's going to set the franchise back at least 3 years. Look at the Cleveland Browns. Look at what happened with Denver with Russell Wilson when they signed him to that big contract. It really guts your team. So the Texans at this point, they're going about the situation right. I wouldn't run and pay CJ either if I don't feel like he's the guy and he can, lift the team to that next level. He has to be patient. He has to go out there and do his job. Now, to his point, if I had to defend him and I'm his agent, I say, hey, you got to look at the team you had around him last year. None of the guys were healthy. The offensive line was in shambles. I'm a drop back quarterback. You know what's needed around me. Now, I do have to be better. I have to make better decisions, things of that nature, but I also have much of nothing. I had much of nothing last year, and that was part of the detriment to the team. But now, they added a lot this year. They added David Montgomery. You got a bell cow running back. That is going to be a big miss for the Detroit Lions this year. Montgomery's going to get the tough yards. He's going to plow through. He's going to play tough football. He fits the identity of what the Texans are building over there. I thought that was a really good move. You're hoping for Tank Dell to come back and really, be Tank Dell. The good thing is he's a young guy. So you get him back, hopefully he's healthy. That makes that offense more dynamic. They've worked on the offensive line. He's going into his second year with his offensive coordinator. And you already got the most dominant defense of football, in my opinion. So all you have to do is do your part. Don't try to be a superhero. Be an efficient quarterback that makes plays when it counts. You'll get paid, and you might put yourself in the dance. Because I think that team is that good. But is the pressure and the expectations on CJ Stroud this year? Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about it. He's in a situation where he's going to have to prove himself with this team. They've gotten him extra weapons. Even heard them talking about maybe bringing Stephon Diggs in too. I don't know if it's worth it, but if he can keep, everything together, I'm talking about Stephon Diggs. Maybe he'll be a help a little bit. But, this is kind of like a make or break year for CJ. But at the same time, I wouldn't panic if I'm a Texans fan, if I'm CJ Stroud, if I'm the Texans organization. Listen, this is what they have franchise tags for. They have franchise tags for these reasons. Let him play out this year. If he plays decent, but you don't feel like he deserves franchise money, you put the franchise tag on for another year, let him roll another year and see if he's your guy. If he's not your guy, you draft another guy. I mean, that's pretty much where they're at in this situation. So, am I pulling for CJ? Absolutely. I think CJ is a really, really good dude. I think he has all the potential to be a top 5 quarterback. He just got to grow his game. And so far, just looking at him in the offseason, he's not all over the place. He's not doing podcasts all over the place. He's moving stealthily. He's moving quietly. And I think, honestly, when you're a quarterback, you have to move like that. It's totally different from being a defensive end or a wide receiver, anything like that. When you are the quarterback, you are the captain of the ship. You know what I mean? And people move by your presence, not by what you say. So he is the leader. Leaders have different responsibilities. And to be the best, you got to put his best foot forward. And, not being all out here in the spotlight every day. And working on your craft, because your craft is totally different from everybody else's craft on that team. That's why you get paid the big bucks. That's why you want to be the franchise guy. So, hey, I mean, he's in a situation this year where this is a make or break year for CJ. So we'll see what they look like. Leave it in the comments below. Do you feel like CJ Stroud is a franchise QB? Would you pay him $60 million going into this year? What would be the numbers for you if you were the Texas GM? What would be the numbers for you guys to pay CJ? Like, what kind of numbers would he have to have? What's his touchdown to interception ratio? Does he need to throw for 4,500 yards to give him $60 million a year? I would like to hear that from you guys. So leave it in the comments below. To the next video. Peace.